This is just an AMZN for Monday, June 28th, 2021. So take a look at the 5 minute here, and we're just going to start here because last week I wasn't doing videos and it's a lot to recap. So maybe I'll go back and touch on that. But today we hit a gap up. We actually made a couple triangles today. So it's kind of cool to see how these played out. So we had, relative highs there, some higher lows here, kind of broke down, did a little S curve down. And then this turned into a really wide triangle here, not wide, really long time, that kind of a triangle. A couple hours here of a triangle, and that did not break down. It was actually holding the lows really well here. Didn't break the open low, actually was holding the open price really well, took out this lower wick, which was okay. Put in a really nice hammer right here, this kind of Morningstar reversal. It kind of retested that same level with another Morningstar reversal, put in a really nice high wave candle there, another high wave candle there. And yeah, I probably should have done all that zoomed in on the day. So let's just zoom in on the day. So really nice hammer here, high wave candle here, high wave candle here, kind of another hammer right here. And then something happened, volume came in and it ran up. Don't know why, it doesn't really matter because the technicals tell us, okay, it moved really nicely bullish. Got really right back into the highs of the day, pulled back. This looked like a really strong evening star reversal, like it was going to sell off again like it did over here. It did not, went sideways and put in a really clean stair step here. Hammer here, kind of an inside candle. This looks like an inverted hammer, and then that broke out. And I was in this from this candle, bullish, and I'll show you how that worked out. So this hammer came in, and I really liked that candle at that level, and it was fitting with, we've got the 21 kind of curving and giving us, just a good time to get in. At least I thought it was a good time to get in. I ended up holding through all of that and thought it was going to get stopped out for sure. This candle, this is where that hammer was. So I really like the $12 price. We were really close to the previous day's range. So this was the 36, sorry, I'm looking at the 3,600 call for July monthly expiration. Been looking a little further out, just trying to make the options a little more steady. And I know this looks like, not something I like to trade, but I still was watching it. And I'll get to that in a sec. So I set up the trade to get in 12 by 11, thinking, okay, it should come back down to like this hammer price, something like that. I'll get in. Well, it bounced off the 21, and then the premium kind of got sucked out. And so came back into the $12 price right here and triggered me in. It's like, oh, great, I'm in. Now it should just bounce off the hammer, right? Like it came right back down to that price. So it did get the same kind of level, but it just didn't bounce. It didn't go back up. It actually rolled down a little bit more and put in a slightly lower low. And I thought for sure it was going to get stopped out here. It was not. My stop was at 11. This came down to 11.15. And somehow I didn't get stopped out and it didn't go lower, which was great. It just bounced there and then barely came back up to 12. And I'm like, okay, do I exit for like literally, a couple dollars? Like, is that really what I'm going to do? And I didn't. And it's like, then it goes back to negative. It's like, okay, well, maybe I should have just gotten out there and just walked away and just had a small, like literally like lunch money kind of gain. And then went through another hour of waiting. I tightened up my stop after this to 11.10. I liked where the stop was. I figured if it is going to roll over, it's going to get the stop either way. It came down to 11.40 here. That was the next lower. Yeah, that was the next low it made after this one, the next lower of the lows. And then it started to bounce. And up here, it's like, okay, should I get out at 14? That's kind of a nice previous resistance area. It's like, no, the 15 price was so good up here. We should get to 15. So I had to hold through all this, tighten up my stop to 12.50, tighten up my stop to 13 after this came in, started to go a little bit and got filled on the exit at 15. So going for a 3-hour target, got in at 12 right here, stop down at 11, tighten the stop after this to 11.10, tighten the stop over here to 12.50, I think over here, debated whether or not to get out at 14, and then still had my target at 15 and that exit there. I actually thought about moving the target up, but I was not confident I would be able to get my stop up to 15. And that was a good choice because it didn't keep going that much higher. Like I would have moved a target to maybe 16. Like I wasn't going to move it that much further to really get a better gain. The only way I could have played this a little better is if I had waited longer and not gotten in right here. Like I said, it was setting up the way I liked with where the 21 was, with what the RSI is doing on both the stock and the option. But had I waited a little longer, I think I would have been buying over here, which would have meant probably getting set up to buy near these lows, like 11.50. And if I'd gotten in at 11.50, I think this option actually tagged 14.50 at some point. I think I would have been out here. Now that was watching the option as it moved up here. Obviously what actually, was bought and sold doesn't show it. And I've got, I think the theoretical stuff turned off. I don't even remember how to turn that back on. I think it's in here somewhere. Maybe. Edit studies is the theoretical. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Show study, show plot. Hey, there we go. Okay, so theoretical. Okay, maybe not. It shows the theoretical lower than that, but it actually filled there. So the theoretical is what the price should have theoretically been, but I don't know. So theoretical, now I'm just guessing, and I'm definitely out of practice. 1095, it didn't get down to 1095. It would have stopped me out. I think that's off. All right, well, we're gonna turn it off. I'm gonna just turn it off. We'll leave it around in case we want to come back to it. So what I liked looking at on the 3200 put, same expiration, July monthly, is that this low here had a high on this option on the put, remember, of 1019, and then we came right back into that same price at 1015 here on this candle. No, this candle. So the low on this candle made a high of 1015, and then this candle here came back right into the 1015, and then the next candle here, which these don't match up exactly because like there wasn't one traded every 5 minutes, and it was literally like one contract for each of these, but we're still at the 1019. So I liked that we had 1019, 1015, 1015, 1019. It's like, okay, the put isn't getting explosive in value. That's telling me that the market makers aren't letting this go down that much more. Otherwise, this would be getting pumped up with more premium. At least that was the rationale that I, was telling myself to keep myself in the trade. But I think it worked out. I think we had relative lows around the 1150 price range, 1150, 1160, something like that. It dipped down a little bit as we were playing below the 21 here. And then once it really consolidated here on the 5 minute, like you can see the 21 is making the S curve, right? So you could have played this bearish from up here, not with this option, definitely not this option. I think to play this bearish, you would have had to been maybe this week. Let's check next week first to see what would have happened, and let's go 100 points closer. Nope, that's not enough. I mean, that's ugly to trade. 34. This just gets really expensive. Yeah, really hard to do $100 risk with that. Yeah, and that's just, I don't like these options. So, okay, we're back to this week. 3,400. What was this doing for this week? You get plenty of volume. So this is what I, have been doing for the channel for a while. You get plenty of volume. And let's just zoom in. It's still really pricey. So this would have been a nice hammer here. $1.40 on the hammer. So I do like that candle. That one is really nice. Okay, so this, if you're seeing that this is bearish, you have the triangle ledger originally, it broke down, retested, secondary retest here, gave you a great entry with a really small candle. It would have been really tough to take that, I think. Getting in at like 18 and a stop at 17, I wouldn't have taken that. So that would have been a great move. But let's see if we can go a little further away and see if we have as good of a setup with an option that I would have taken. Because I don't know if I would have. Let's see. So you have the same kind of retest over here. 8. I think I could have bought at 8 and stopped down at 7. Yeah, it's way down there. But that only moved 2R. You didn't even get 3R on that. So yeah, that's what's tough with playing this bearish this way is it looks like a great setup bearish. It's breaking down here. It goes 35 minutes, just straight sell off. And that was the other reason. It's like, this is somewhat not exhaustive volume, but this was the bear run right here, or maybe from up here, stair step into a more bearish, and then we couldn't even get below the low of the day, so that was the bullish idea that I had for the day. So anyway, so I've got my eyes out on options a couple weeks out. You can use this week's options too. This had the same kind of resistance here. So, if this is what you settle on early in the day, like this is generally resistance. So we got above it a little bit there, got above it a little bit there. This is telling you, okay, these are the places to not be going bearish. Maybe not the first one here, but this one definitely. Okay, don't be going bearish after that kind of a candle. Don't be going bearish when we roll over with an evening star reversal from this same position, that same price at like 10, and look for something. This is going to roll over. I mean, you don't know that's going to, but this time of day, like 12:30, could you get into this 12:30? Yeah, you could be buying into these lows. Even buying at 12 here and a stop at 11 here would have worked. Would have been less waiting. Would have been the same setup I had. But looking at the calls, looking at the puts, seeing what prices they're holding can help you figure out, what all is going on, during the day. So let's see here if the 3400 was as good. So hammer, inverted hammer here. I like that it was in the same level here. Yeah, so same thing here. I think this is telling you this is the place that we're running into some resistance. Don't be going bearish. Obviously, we could have just exploded higher, but we had the RSI doing this double top thing here, lower high on the second peak, the second top, got right back into it again with just kind of little bit of a lower high in the RSI. It has to make a higher high, and this has to go up higher for it to just really sustain that, and it didn't. Like you can see here, we stayed at the overbought price on the call once we were in it, once we were moving that direction. And then obviously we sold off here, so it went really blue. But anyway, that's how I'm reading this. Hope this helps. And this is just an Amazon. Thanks.